extra line on the top which is used as the header line or a work area. So instead of using a separate work area, you can use this header line itself as a work area. So when I say loop at ITMAKT, if you want me to write this loop statement here and show you. Sorry. If you see this, when I say loop at ITMAKT, then in every loop it will bring one record into the header line. So it basically uses the header line as the work area. So in the first loop, it has brought the first record to this header line. Then second loop, it will bring the second record. Third loop, third record. So like that, it is bringing one record at a time into my header line, and I'm accessing that header line as a work area. Prashant, you have a question?
No, it's just related to the connectivity. Sometimes you're giving a pass, and even sometimes you're breaking, so it's kind of tough today.
Okay.
So is it network issues on your end, or is it only I'm facing the issue?
No, I'm actually facing network issues, and most probably by Tuesday it should be fixed, because I've applied for a new leased line now. So once I get that, we shouldn't be having any issues. But since almost 1 week I'm facing these network issues. That's the reason I'm not able to upload the recording also on time. So by Monday anyway we don't have the class, so by Tuesday most probably I should get my new connection. Okay. So I'll ask you one question now. If I say types begin off TYMAKT, let's say Matnar, type Matnar, Spras, type Spras, MAKTX, type MAKTX, end of TYMAKT. Now what is TYMAKT here? Can anyone tell me quickly? What is this TYMAKT? It's a structure, internal table, work area. Lakshmi.
Yeah, it's a structure.
Okay. So the same
with
thing.
3 fields. Partner.
If I, instead of types, if I say data, what is TYMAKT now?
It's referring to internal table.
TYMAKT is an internal table. So if I say data,
it's a work area.
It's a work area which can store only one record.
Yeah.
Now to this, if I add occurs clause, if you say data begin of something, it creates a structure. If you say data begin of something and use this occurs clause, it creates an internal table with header line. So this is one more way of defining your internal tables. Again, it's obsolete. We no more use occurs clause to define internal tables. This is the best way to define an internal table, saying type standard table of or type sorted table of or hash table of. But if you want, you might come across some old programs where they might be using this occurs clause also. So if you say data begin of structure name occurs 0 or 10, based on the value you specify in the occurs clause, the system will allocate that much initial memory to your internal table. So if I say occurs 0, then it assigns 8 KB of memory, and as I put more data into this table, the size of the internal table will increase in increments of 8 KB. Okay. If I say occurs 1000, then it allocates 8000 KB of memory initially. And once 8000 KB is filled, if you add more records, it will increase. The size of the increase will be increased. Size of the table will be increased by another 1000 records or another 8000 KB. So what you specify here will be the initial size of your internal table. So if you say occurs clause, now this TYMAKT is an internal table with header line with these 3 fields. So this is one more way of defining your internal tables. But as I said, there are 10 different ways to do the same thing, but out of that, this is the most efficient way of doing it. All the other stuff are obsolete. So any questions on this internal table and what is internal table with header line? You need to know that because this select options is creating an internal table with header line. So if you want to clear this select options field, SMATNAR, what you'll do, which one I should use? I should say clear SMATNAR or clear SMATNAR. So if I say clear SMATNAR, it will simply clear the header line of this SMATNAR. And if I say clear SMATNAR with square brackets, it will clear the body of this SMATNAR. Okay. Any questions on this select options so far? No? S underscores pras. Now, I'll give you one requirement. Let's do that quickly and try to understand how this parameters behaves and how the select option behaves. Let's say I have this two parameters field pmatnar and p underscore pras. Then I'll say select star from MAKT into table itMAKT where matnar equals to pmatnar and spras equals to p underscore spras. Then I'll say loop at itMAKT into WAMAKT, write matnar So this program has two input fields. I can give the material number here and I can give the language here, and when I execute, it shows me the description of that material in the given language, right? So if I give 600 as the material number, then it shows me the description in this language, right? If I give, let's say, Japanese J as the language, JA, what is Japanese? So it shows me the description in Japanese. Can you see my screen? So if you have two input fields and if I give my selection criteria, then I'm using both in my select statement. I'm restricting my select statement by both MATNR and SPRAS. So based on whatever I input, I'll get that data. Now, the user gives only material number. He'll ignore the language field. What should happen? If the user is ignoring a field on the selection screen, that means he does not want you to filter the selection by this field. So if he is giving you a specific language, you should show the description in that language. If he is not giving you any language, then you need to show the descriptions in all the languages. Don't restrict it by language. Just restrict the selection by material number. So if you have more than one input field on the screen, it's not mandatory that the user will fill all the selections criteria, all the fields. If he's giving me company code and plant, then select based on these two. If I give company code, vendor and plant, then restrict that selection by vendor also. If I'm not giving you the vendor, don't restrict it by vendor. Simply restrict the selection by the fields I filled on the selection screen. If I ignored some fields on the selection screen, then don't restrict the selection by that field. But in this case now, if I ignore my SPRAS, no output, nothing happens, because if I keep a breakpoint here, if I give just the material number, ideally you should be printing the descriptions in all the languages maintained in the system. But if I leave this SPRAS field empty, p_SPRAS is empty, and when I execute the select, psi sub rc is 4. The select failed because the system is trying to compare space for the SPRAS field in the table. So it's actually checking where MATNR is 100, 600 and SPRAS equals to space. So obviously there's no entry with SPRAS equals to space in the database table, so the select failed. So when you use this parameters, if the field is empty and if you have used that field in your select statement, then the system will compare for space or its initial value instead of ignoring that field. Then what should I do? If I want to change my code in such a way that if the user is giving me language, I'll consider that. Otherwise, I won't consider that. What should I do for that? Can anyone tell me? What change should I make in my program? Can you hear me? So if I want to consider, if the user is giving me material number and language, I'll show the description in that language. If the user ignores the language on the selection screen, then I need to show the descriptions in all the languages maintained in the system. So what change should I make in my program for that? Vijita?
Since we are giving SPRAS in the where condition, we should somehow check, check value of SPRAS, parameter SPRAS, and if it is blank, we should replace it with star or something, if that's possible, or a
Okay, you would say I can write it something like if P underscore spras is not initial, that means he has given something. Then I'll compare
Yes.
it in my where condition, else P underscore spras is initial, that means if it is empty, I'll simply remove it
And
in my,
then directly without comparing spras.
so you mean to say
Yeah,
you
but
need to
this
write this.
is, I mean, this is the logic.
Now what if
This
the
is the
user,
logical way, but I don't.
yeah, so what if the user gives you spras and not material number? Then you should ignore material number and show in that spras all the
Yeah,
material.
that's what I was saying. That
Yeah.
now we cannot do it every time, and there would be several fields on the
Yeah.
screen, so we cannot write so many select in if else if. So there should be some other way.
Okay, so handling this way is impossible because the more number of fields you have on the selection screen, the combinations will increase. So it's impossible
Yeah.
to consider all the possible combinations. So there should be a better way. Now let's see how select option behaves for the same requirement. So I have the select options fields, two fields, and where matnar in smatnar and spras in spras. Now I have this select option instead of parameters for this material number. I'll give the material number, let's say 100, 600, and I'll give the language as EN. Now it shows me the description in that particular language. In the second criteria, I'll ignore the language. I won't give anything in this language field. So I'll simply give the material number. And it automatically ignores the language field. So it's showing me the descriptions in all the languages by default. So a parameters field, if it is empty, it will compare space, whereas select option fields, if it is empty, the system will automatically ignore that. Okay, so if spras is empty, then the system will ignore comparing this part of my select. It will only consider up to material number because spras is empty, so it will ignore that in the filter criteria. Whereas with parameters, it's actually comparing space for the value, and select options is automatically doing it. So whatever we wanted to do here is done automatically without me having to really worry about the if conditions. So the system will take care of it. But the problem here is it is creating you a range field, right? So the user says, don't give me range. Users will be particular about this. If he says, I want a single input field, you need to give him only single input field. If he says, I want a range, you need to give him range. If he's telling you to give a single input field and if you give a range, he'll always come back to you and say that please make it a single input field. So it makes a difference to them. So he wants a single input field like your parameters, like this, but internally the program should behave the way it is behaving with select options. You're understanding what I'm trying to say? Externally to the user, he should see a single input field. It should look like a parameters field for him. But internally, the program should behave how it is behaving with select options. If you are giving a field, it should consider. If you are ignoring a field on the selection screen, it should ignore in the select statement. So how do we make it work that way? So if you explore the select options keyword, there are different additions you can use. For example, if I say no intervals addition, for my select options, it gets rid of that high field. Okay, it looks like a single input field, but you can still click on this multiple selection button here and still give range values. Okay, so the user says, I don't want that also. I just want a parameters field. If I say no intervals, no extension, then it looks just like the parameters field, a single input field, right? So for the user, it looks like a single input field, but internally, if I give the material number and language, it considers that. If I don't give the language, it ignores that. So it works like select options. Okay. So whenever you use parameters as your selection field, then you need to make sure that the field is not empty before you compare it in your select statement. How do you make sure that? You cannot write if conditions, obviously, because you cannot consider all the combinations possible. So if it is a single input field and if you are going with parameters, then that field has to be a mandatory field. So I need to make sure that if you use this obligatory keyword, then it makes that field mandatory. So if I try to execute keeping this field empty, the system will not let you execute. You need to fill some value. So if I execute this with an empty spras value, it will throw an error. Okay, I need to fill some value. So if you are going with parameters, then make sure it is a mandatory field so that the user cannot execute without filling that field. But you cannot make fields mandatory on your own. Again, it's the user's call. If he says this has to be a mandatory field, you'll make it mandatory. Otherwise, you don't make it mandatory. So it's not your call. So then how do you handle that? If you cannot make a field, a mandatory field on the selection screen, and if the user insists on a single input field instead of a range, then instead of going with parameters, go with select options, but get rid of the high value, high field, and also the extension. So it looks like parameters, but internally it works like select options. So always remember, when you are giving a single input field on the selection screen to the user, if that field is a mandatory field, go with parameters. If that field is not mandatory field, then always go with select options, but simply suppress the extension and the interval. Okay. Any questions on this? Prashant?
Yeah, so for parameters, we are saying obligatory, right? So for select options for range, do we say high and low also to be obligatory?
You say obligatory, and by default, it makes it obligatory, high and low.
Oh, high and low will be obligatory. Okay.
No, it's just that either it should have some value. Either you give a low value, high value, or anything. Something should be filled.
Okay, but we cannot say both high and low should be obligatory, right?
No. If you want to validate high and low has to be mandatory, then you need to handle it in your program. So manually check if there is some value in high field. If not, throw an error. Okay. So any questions on this? Select options and the scenarios in which you can use the select options and advantages of using select options compared to your parameters. No questions? So I'll quickly give you a couple of assignments. Karnakar?
Hi Kiran, can I use just a no extension without no interval so that I can have a option as from and to parameters option, select option, and just ignore the scenario where it is if I want to use for all languages?
Means I didn't understand. You mean to say instead of
So basically,
you want to have intervals
no
but not the
extension.
extension.
No, other way. No intervals. I don't put no intervals. I'll put only no extension.
Yeah, you can do that.
Can I
These
do
are
that
two
way?
different
Step commands.
additions. They're not related to each other. So if you say no extension, it will only get rid of that extension.
Okay, so now I'll have from and to for my select option for first one. Okay.
So you got from and to, but there is no extension.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Agnel? Agnel, you have a question? I can't hear you. Please type your question. I'll take it. So, what was the program? Can anyone tell me your program where you have tried this billing document? Three one four double zero. Okay. Right now, you are showing me, if I give a document number, you're showing me that document's header information, like the document number, the payer details, billing date, and then you're printing the item details, right? What I want you to do is, instead of parameters, give me a select options here so that I can okay. Give me one moment, I'll pull out one program to show you. What I want you to do is give me a range field for this select options. Okay. I'll give a range of documents. 9003, what was the number? 90031400. I'll give a range from 400 to 404, for example. And I want these two check boxes on the selection screen. One should say output in pieces and the other should say output in boxes. Okay, I want these two check boxes. Let's say I'll select this output in pieces checkbox and I'll execute. Then print the first document header and then its item details like this, and then print the second document's header and then its item details. So whatever range I give for documents, print all those documents header and item details like this. So print first document's header, its item, then print the second document's header and then its item, then the third document's header and its item. Okay, and if you see, the quantity is 88 pieces, right? And on the selection screen, I have pieces and boxes. Instead of boxes, if I select this output in boxes, right now we are showing one field automatically. I don't want you to do this. Keep it simple. Just if I select this output in boxes and execute it, all you need to do is convert this pieces into boxes. For our requirement, let's assume one box will have 10 pieces. So when you convert pieces to boxes, it should be 8.8 boxes quantity. Instead of 88 pieces, print 8.8 boxes because I've selected the unit of measure as boxes. In fact, you can actually get this from MARM table. If you are interested, you can do it, but if you feel it's getting a bit tricky, then you can hard code it in your program. Simply use the calculation. For example, this is the material number I'm printing. So for this material in MARM, I can get the, in MARM table you can get the unit of measure, alternate unit of measures. So cartons, KAR, there are 8 pieces in one carton. So you can get this values from MARM table also if you want to do it. But you can keep it simple. For our requirement, you can add this functionality later to get it from MARM. For the time being, give me 2 checkboxes. If I say pieces, simply print whatever is there in the document, because for this documents the unit of measure is pieces. But if I select boxes as the checkbox on the selection screen, then convert all the quantity that you are printing into boxes. So for that you can divide it by 10 and then print that in boxes quantity. Any questions? Vijita?
Should we, because these are checkbox, if the user selects both of them, should we handle that in program?
Since we haven't discussed how to show messages, for the timing you can ignore. But
So
otherwise, ideally if both are selected, you can throw an error message.
okay, and how to create a checkbox we can find on the help?
F1 help, or there's a article on selection screens. Read that, figure out.
Okay. Yeah.
It's simple. Define type C field and say as checkbox. So it will be shown as a checkbox. And when you select that checkbox, that field will be filled with X. So basically, if the field has X, that means the user has selected that checkbox.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So the requirement is clear. Karnakar, you have a question?
Sorry, no.
Okay.
I didn't load my hand. Yeah.
So the variant created can be used only in this program. I have a program which uses almost similar variant, how to include them. These variants that you create are program specific. So if you create one variant for one program, that is for that program. If you want to have a variant for another program, you need to create it again for that program. So I know my voice is breaking up, I guess, but when you play the recording, it should be fine. The audio and video should be fine in recording. So this is one requirement I want you to try for this weekend, where you print multiple document details. And we won't be having class on Monday. Instead, we'll have it next Friday. So since you get one extra day off, you can try one more assignment. Here, in this assignment, in this program, I'm getting data from, I'm printing the plant information, right, for a given material. I'm getting data from MAKT table, MARC, and T001W. So if I give a material number for this material, it shows me different plants, right? What I want you to do is, instead of selecting data from MARC, if you select from MARD table, okay, if you select this from MARD, you'll get duplicates, because in MARD the key fields are Matnar, Works, and LGORT, storage location. So since we are not considering the storage location, the same plant can have more than one storage location. So since I'm not considering storage location, it appears to be a duplicate record, but in fact it's not a duplicate record. So here I have 2 entries for 1000 plant, because this 1000 plant is having 2 storage locations. So if you look at this in this table, so this 1000 plant is having 2 different storage locations. But since in my program I am not considering the storage location, it appears to be duplicate, right? So maybe I I want to show this storage location information if the user double clicks. So I want to do it later. But initially when I show this output, I don't want to show storage location. So what I want you to do is get rid of these duplicates in the output. So if you have this 1000 plant is repeated twice, so don't print it twice, print it only once. If the line is already there, don't print it again. I don't want duplicates in the output. So here I have duplicate records here, 1000 is repeated twice, the same way 6101 is repeated twice. Okay. Change this program in such a way that you suppress these duplicates from the output. Okay. Don't delete it from your internal table, or don't restrict your selection to not get the data into your internal table. People, the first thing I know you'll be looking for is trying to understand which keywords you can use. So you might come across select distinct keyword or delete duplicates keyword. So don't do those things. I want the data to be there in your internal table, because as I said, right now I don't want you to show me this plan twice, but when I double click, when you have to print the storage location information, then at that time you need those duplicate records in the internal table. So without deleting them from your internal table or ignoring them while selecting the data, you just simply suppress them from the output. Okay, so simply apply some logic and try to print unique records in the output. Okay, don't use any keywords, use some logic. So this one assignment you can try. Okay, and like last week, that quiz would be activated either today or tomorrow, so you can try it out. And I won't be available this weekend, so do expect some delay if you're sending me an email or anything like that. Okay. Any questions on this second assignment? And try to take that exam seriously for your own benefit, because last time I've seen, except for Vijita, no one else could actually clear the test. And no point giving the test more than twice, because the same questions will repeat. So no fun in giving the test the third time. Any questions? Maybe if you log into the website, you'll see one e-learning module. Click on that. It will take you to the test. Fine then, I'm stopping the recording.